Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily, and you are looking like a whole snack today, which is something I have a little bit of experience in. The other weekend, I went to the Minnesota State Fair, and if you're wondering, no, I don't live in Minnesota. I live in Washington. There was a concert. It's nerd stuff, but you understand. I know you understand. And today, I want to talk about the foods I ate in Minneapolis as gear. This gear can be guitars, it can be pedals. I basically narrowed it down to those two things, but I couldn't get everything I ate in Minnesota associated appropriately with either just pedals or just guitars. So they've converged. And I am really excited. And if you're wondering, no, I will not elaborate further than I do in this video. You can, if you have other ideas, you can drop them in the comments, but let's get to it. This first one, it was this French place in Uptown, which confusingly is downtown, but my friend Michelle took me there and it was amazing. I got the Florentine eggs Benedict, which is a classic take on a traditional treat, and for me, this was a great meal. It was a perfect way to start the weekend. I had very few notes on it. I wish I'd gotten fries with it instead of that salad. I was trying to be good for the fair, but I really messed up. But this is an American Professional 2 Series Jazzmaster in the Dark Knight finish specifically. I have a lot of experience with this guitar, more than I have with the Florentine Eggs Benedict, but it's a unique take on a classic. It's almost flawless. There are flaws on this guitar. If you've seen Mike Adams' video or 60 Cycle Hum's video, there's something kind of wonky with the trim arm if you use lighter gauge strings. Something I never noticed because I don't use lighter gauge strings, and also gosh, I really love this breakfast. Next, we have the first thing that we ate at the fair, and if there was only one thing I was going to eat at the state fair, it was going to be this. This is the dill pickle cheese curd taco. So it's got like fried dill pickles, some sort of slaw sauce, and cheese curds. And believe me when I tell you, this was everything that I wanted it to be. It was so Minnesota State Fair. There was so much pickle stuff at the fair. There was so much cheese curds, and you have it in a taco. This was perfection. This is perfection, and it was so Minnesota that I had to pick the Chase Bliss ZFX collaboration, the Bliss Factory. I had to do it. I mean, listen, not everyone's gonna get this dill pickle cheese curd taco, and not everybody gets this pedal, but they are so Minnesota, so Minneapolis. I can't think of a better piece of gear that embodies that spirit in that way. Next, we have the dill pickle pizza, specifically Rick's Pickle Pizza. Full disclosure, I didn't actually eat this at the fair. I was curious about it. I've had pickle pizzas before, but the line from this one cart went out so far in both directions because there were two lines. I tried to do one on each finger. Two lines, and I wasn't about to wait in that for something I've kind of already had. I just didn't think it'd be worth it, but I did want to give it a shout out and say, to me, it is the Moog Moger Foger ring modulator pedal. Like I've had pickle pizzas before, I've played the Moger Foger ring mod as a plugin, but I've never played it as an actual pedal. So I felt like for me it was an appropriate comparison. So there you go. I've had pickles on pizza before. I think it's rad. I'm a big fan of the pickles. I'm a big fan of this ring modulator, but not everyone will be. Ring mods aren't for everybody, and I didn't think ring mods were for me until I played the Moger Foger ring modulator plugin, at which point I realized I just didn't know how to use ring mods because the presets were all great. It's a whole thing. Go watch the video. Next, I have a bit of a lighter treat. This is a basil hummus with this crunchy walnut sauce and crispy pita chips. This was from the international area. I think it's like the International Bazaar section of the fair. This was great. I was so full that I didn't eat as much of it as I wish that I had, but it was refreshing, had great flavor. was spicy, but like Minnesota spicy. And the chips were really, really good. Like this was a perfect little dish, which is why to me, it is the Benson Germanium Fuzz. This snack is gonna keep you full, but also it's not gonna feel too heavy. That's how that fuzz is to me. And I wish I used that fuzz more than I do, and I probably will start using it more now that I say this. But I feel the same way about the hummus. I really wish I'd had more of it. So this awesome hummus, Benson Germanium Fuzz. Next up, we have a Pronto Pup. That's not a corn dog. Don't get it twisted. A corn dog is a cornmeal batter. This is like a whole wheat batter. I think it's superior to corn dogs, and that would probably start a fight, which is why this is the 1981 Inventions DRV, which is rat but different. It's an updated take on a rat. It's a better take on a rat. Gonna start a fight there. But yeah, the DRV, great pedal. It works great even at low gain. This Pronto Pup works great plain or with mustard. It's versatile, and it's a classic, or it's become a classic. Obviously the rat is the classic, but that's the corn dog, and this is the Minnesota classic, which I'm making the DRV. It's not from Minnesota. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Next up, we're out of the fair. We're out of the heat. We're at Matt's for a Juicy Lucy, the Jucy, Juicy Lucy. And this is like the Minnesota dish. If you've not had a Juicy Lucy, they stuff the cheese in the middle. Matt's has it down to a science. This was a really, really great burger. I'm gonna have to deduct points though, because Michelle and I went, and if you listen to the podcast, you've probably heard Michelle, but we went and we're like, oh, let's play some like Husker Du and Replacements and Bob Mould and all these Minnesota rockers. The Hold Steady, obviously. D4 on the Touch Tunes jukebox. So bars can customize and filter out / ban certain artists from the jukebox. And so I picked, a couple things. I'm like, oh, let's pick some Prince. And I'm like, well, let's pick The Time from Purple Rain movie. And it said it was filtered out. And when I looked for Morris Day, it was the same thing. Morris Day is banned from Matt's jukebox. But you know what isn't banned? Prince's original doing Jungle Love with Prince's vocals. So I played that instead. But this is, since it is like the Minnesota bar food, I'm going to pick the Minnesota legend. It's Prince's cloud guitar, the white one from the Purple Rain movie specifically. And this is one of those guitars that I wish I'd bought when they were remaking them. I think Schecter remade them in like 2017, and I tried to talk my husband into letting me get one. He said, no, they'll be around for a while. They were not. So if you have a good deal on a real cloud, let me know. Also, please let me know if you have an H.S. Anderson style Mad Cat guitar, because that's another one I really want. And our last meal in Minneapolis was this place called Jefe Urban Cantina, I want to say, but it was on the other side of the Mississippi River. And I'm going to start with this Mezcal Margarita. It is a Mezcal spicy margarita, to be specific, and this was a great drink. I had 3 of them, and it just gave me that great tingly feeling, and that is why it is the Dwarf Craft Devices Grazer. This is one of my favorite pedals of all time. It gives me that tingly feeling inside that I get from, the second spicy Mezcal Margarita. I didn't mean to drink 3. We ordered a second and they brought out the wrong thing, so they let us keep that, and then they also brought us a real one. So it was a 3 for 2 special. Can't say no to that. And then we walked across that Grain Belt Bridge. So that is, what else can I say? It's a margarita. It's the Grazer. It's a great pedal, and it was a great drink. And now I want to talk about the appetizer that we had at Jefe. This was a chip and dip situation. This was like their deluxe chips and dips. And so there's guacamole. There's some, I think it's like a pepita kind of dip that didn't really taste like anything. This other dip was basically sour cream. There's something that was like a hot, I want to say like mango, traditional red, and then a tomatillo. This was fine. Like this really, it got the job done. I really liked their take on the chips in some ways, but in other ways it felt kind of lazy. but like bougie, I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan, but this definitely got the job done. It's a player Stratocaster. It's a solid guitar, it gets the job done. It's not the top of the line. It's not the fanciest, but it's a little more fancy than other things. Maybe this was too fancy for its own good. It doesn't really fit the player, but it might fit the player plus because now those have those noiseless pickups. I don't know. It's that series. Last but not least, this is kind of a save the best for last scenario. This is the steak dinner that I had at Jefe. I think it was $35, which is, for Seattle prices, not bad. But this is one of the best steaks I've ever had in my life. I don't really know what that green sauce was, but it was special. There are potatoes under that. This was a perfect meal. I'd eat this as my last meal gladly, which is why as the Elvis Costello signature jazz master, this was for years my white whale guitar, and I finally got it. It's everything that I wanted it to be, which is the second time I've said that this video. Deja vu. But this, if you're in Minnesota, if you're in Minneapolis, go to Jefe, get the steak, get a couple of spicy Mezcal Margaritas, and enjoy your time in the Twin Cities. Well, to everybody out there, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe for more. If you're watching during the premiere, you can still drop a super chat if you feel so inclined. If you're watching later, you can say thanks under this video. I understand if you don't. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/getoffset. We have merch at getoffsetpodcast.com/shop. Tell your favorite brands about us. Until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for understanding. My name is Emily. Goodbye.